Georgia O'Keeffe was a significant figure in American art for 7 decades. Remarkably, she remained independent from shifting art trends and stayed true to her own vision, which was based on finding the essential, abstract forms in nature. With exceptionally keen powers of observation and great finesse with a paintbrush, she recorded subtle nuances of color, shape, and light that enlivened her paintings and attracted a wide audience. Her primary subjects were landscapes, flowers, and bones, explored in series over several years and even decades. Born in 1887 near Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, O'Keeffe received art training at the Art Institute of Chicago School, 1905, the Art Students League of New York, 1907-8, the University of Virginia, 1912, and Columbia University's Teachers College, New York, 1914-16. During this period, she produced a remarkable series of charcoal drawings that led her art, and her career, in a new direction. It was through these drawings that O'Keeffe came to the attention of the prominent photographer and New York gallery owner Alfred Stieglitz in January 1916. With his encouragement and promise of financial support, O'Keeffe abandoned teaching and arrived in New York in June 1918, to begin a career as an artist. From then until his death in 1946, Stieglitz vigorously promoted her work in 22 solo exhibitions and numerous group installations. During the 1920s, O'Keeffe painted a series of architectural pictures that dramatically depict the soaring skyscrapers and aerial views of New York City. But most often, she painted landscapes and botanical studies that were inspired by annual trips to the Stieglitz family summer home in Lake George, New York. Toward the end of the decade, the strains of dealing with the New York art world, her growing boredom with Lake George, and her deteriorating relationship with Stieglitz took their toll on her physical and emotional health. It was a visit that had a lasting impact on her life, and an immediate effect on her work. Over the next 20 years, from 1929 to 1949, she made almost annual trips to New Mexico, staying up to 6 months there, painting in relative solitude, then returning to New York each winter to exhibit the new work at Stieglitz's gallery. There, O'Keeffe found new subjects to paint in the sun-bleached animal bones and the rugged mountains that dominate the terrain. Although the desert bones of New Mexico had initially sparked O'Keeffe's imagination, it was the region's majestic landscape, with its unusual geological formations, vivid colors, clarity of light, and exotic vegetation, that held her attention for more than 4 decades. Often she painted the rocks, cliffs, and mountains in dramatic close-up, just as she had done with her flower subjects. In more than 30 pictures between 1946 and 1960, Black Door with Red, Chrysler Museum of Art, Norfolk, Virginia, she reinvented the patio into an abstract arrangement of geometric shapes. Flying in airplanes inspired her last 2 major series, aerial views of rivers, It Was Blue and Green, Whitney Museum of American Art, New York, and expansive paintings of the sky viewed from just above the clouds, Sky Above Clouds 4, Art Institute of Chicago. In both series, as well as in the later patio door pictures, O'Keeffe increased the size of her canvases, sometimes to mural proportions, reflecting perhaps her newly expanded view of the world. The 7 works in her Sky Above Clouds series, 1960-65, are the most dramatic of her later years. The last 2 decades of the artist's life were relatively unproductive as ill health and blindness hindered her ability to work. When she died in 1986 at age 98, her ashes were scattered over the New Mexico landscape she had loved for more than half a century. Her rich legacy of some 900 paintings has continued to attract subsequent generations of artists and art lovers who derive inspiration from these very American images.